And we welcome you back to Silver Spring for Game 2 between the Big Train and the T-Bolts. An exciting Game 1, a late game comeback. And the Big Train look for their first double-header sweep of the summer. Let's give you the Bethesda Big Train lineup. Manager Sal Colangelo, 19-8 their record. Eddie Hakopian leads it off once again. Connor Rasmussen bats second. Jacob Orr hits third. Jeffrey Hurd in the cleanup spot. And Oregon's newest member of its baseball team, Dean Twigo, hits fifth. Jason Schiavone, the catcher, bats sixth. Zeb Ruddle back in the lineup for Game 2. He hits seventh. Dixon Williams hits eighth and plays third base. And Casey Bishop, the second baseman, rounds things out. On the mound for the T-Bolts in Game 2 is Loy Hickman. Longwood product gets the start in his fourth game of the summer. 3 games appeared in so far. No starts and has a 13.50 ERA, but really just one bad outing against the Crop Dusters. He allowed 4 earned runs, did not record an out, gave up 3 hits and 1 walk. Well, the Big Train looking to keep some offensive momentum rolling. They won their first game in the last 17 earlier today when they allowed more than 3 runs. The offense came to life late, and we are ready for baseball once again.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Big Train wait on some of those pitches that we saw in that first game. And doubleheaders have not been the Big Train's thing this year, so hopefully they can kind of reverse things here.
First pitch from Hickman, who deals from a sidearm delivery, and the fastball inside to Hakopian. A ball and no strikes. Eddie Hakopian has had a fantastic couple games. He waits on a 1-0 and takes another fastball just upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. After a slow first game with the Big Train, has quickly picked up 6 hits in the last 2 games. 2-0. And that's the first strike of the day for Hickman. A fastball right down the middle. It's 2 balls and a strike. 4 hits in the first game earlier for Hakopian and scored 3 of the Big Train's runs. 2-1. Takes the slider outside. It's 3 balls and a strike. Looking to get the offense started early and keep the momentum after scoring 2 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th to win by 1. 3-1 pitch. Down the hill, and it's a fastball inside, ball 4. A leadoff walk to get Game 2 started, and Hakopian reaches. Let's give you the defense for the T-Bolts. Across the outfield from left to right, Jones Jr., Sickley, and Walters. At third is Gross. Jones plays shortstop. Soltis at second. McMath moves from right to first, and Wingard is the catcher behind the plate. So it brings up Connor Rasmussen, who had the big at-bat as he fouls the first pitch right back off the screen. No balls and a strike. The knock that brought home the go-ahead run.
Yeah, and all with 2 outs. We got that tying run in with the ground out by Hurd, and then the late rally that ended with Rasmussen picking up the go-ahead run.
0-1 and a called strike right on the outside corner. Rasmussen down 0-2. Big Train wearing their black uniforms with Bethesda in block letters written across the chest. Black hats with the gray brims and the gray pants. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss from Rasmussen. He strikes out for the first out of the game. With Hakopian at first, no score in the top of the first, and it brings Jacob Orr to the plate.
Yeah, the majority of these guys faced a lefty in the first game. Orr didn't play, and now not only you're facing a righty, but with an interesting arm angle. So it's going to take a little getting used to here.
First pitch to Orr, and it hits him right on the back, below the 18 on his jersey, and he heads down to second, or Hakopian heads down to second, Orr heads to first, and we did have some interesting moments in Game 1. Warnings were given to both sides. No one was ejected, although there were some close moments, but this umpire crew is certainly aware of that. Same crew as we had in Game 1 as Jeffrey Hurd to the plate. An RBI ground out to tie the game. in the 7th. As he swings at the first pitch, grounds it into left field, a base hit. Hakopian gets the wave. Jones Jr. comes up firing. His throw to the plate is offline, and the Big Train lead 1-0 on an RBI single from Jeffrey Hurd. He moves over to second or in at third, and with one out, the Big Train have the early lead.
Yeah, Hurd's only seen, 3 pitches now in the first 2 games, and he's got 2 productive ABs. And for Jeffrey, more of a pull hitter, but using the entire field. And it was something that Jack Robinson talked about when a lot of righties work away to lefties. You see the shortstop shading towards the second base bag. It opens up that entire spot for Big Train hitters, and Jeffrey Hurd took advantage.
So Dean Twygo to the plate with one out and runners at second and third, and the first pitch is a slider from Hickman. He spins onto the outside corner, 0-1. Twygo, the tall lefty with the open stance. 0-1 pitch, swings away and hits a fly ball down the left field line, but out of play towards the Big Train bullpen, down 0-2. After this summer, Twygo will trade out his black and green for a lighter shade of green and a little bit of yellow at Oregon as he heads up the coast out west from Cypress College to Oregon. 0-2, and the slider outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Team that is losing some of their outfield depth that have been huge pieces for the Ducks, and Twygo likely to fill in with that void. 1-2. He hits a fly ball down the left field line. A look from Jones Jr., the left fielder, but it's out of play again towards the bullpen. A ball and 2 strikes.
I like seeing Twygo fight off some of these pitches. He had a couple of really good at-bats in that first game, including a huge RBI double in the 7th. He loves those pitches a little more inward, though. He's also more of a pull hitter.
He waits. 1-2. Gets a high fastball, pops it up. Over towards the Big Train dugout, down the third base line. The catcher, Wingard, races over, but it lands out of play. And Twygo continues to battle. Wind blowing out towards that left field line. A flag on top of the fire department that sits behind the left field fence. And the flag flying proudly with the breeze. 1-2. Twygo swings away, lines it up the middle. It is caught by the pitcher, Hickman. He flips back to second where Hurd is off the bag. In time, the double play, and the inning comes to an end. Big Train strike for 1 on 1 hit. The RBI single from Jeffrey Hurd to the bottom of the first. It's the T-Bolts coming up, down 1-0.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Boogie down.
We welcome you back to Silver Spring, Maryland. Here's how the T-Bolts stack up. 10-19, their record, losers of their last 3. Zane Gross leads things off, the third baseman from Barry heading into his freshman year. Matthew Sickley bats second, the center fielder from Emory, and Amani Jones is third. The Stevenson product plays shortstop. Justin Costanzo slots in at the cleanup spot. The Widener product, Keegan Soltis, bats fifth. Millersville is the college he calls home. Bowman Wingard hits 6th, and Matthew Walters hits 7th. Then it's Jonathan McMath and Cam Jones Jr. to round things out. And on the mound for the Big Train is the tall right-hander of Jack Hostetler. The righty from Whitman College, and originally from the Bay Area. 3.60 ERA in 5 games with 2 starts, including his last start where he went 4 innings, just allowed 1 earned run a week ago against the Senators in the win. As he gets ready and deals the first pitch to Gross, and he hits it sharply on the ground left side. The shortstop Rasmussen into a dive, to his feet, his throw to first, just late, and Gross beats it out for a leadoff base hit.
Yeah, that's a really impressive play by Rasmussen to range to his right and lay out for that one. A ball that looked like for sure it was going into left field. And something lost in that play because we don't have TV is just how quickly he threw that ball over to first, getting up immediately. Super athletic Rasmussen is at short.
Brings up Sickley with a runner at first, and the first pitch to him is popped foul down the first base line. No balls and a strike to the center fielder from Emory down in Atlanta, Georgia. 3 for 7 in his last 2 games as he swings it at 0-1 and lines it foul down the first base line. Had a home run yesterday in the loss to the Crop Dusters. As he leans back and now sets at the plate. 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball stays upstairs. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Clouds cover the sky here in Silver Spring as it begins to cool off. 1-2, high fastball, good take from Sickley. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first, and the T-Bolts trailing 1-0. Hostetler, 2-2, swing and a miss. Gets Sickley on the breaking ball, and it goes down as out number 1. So we give you the Big Train defense from left to right in the outfield, or Ruddle and Twygo. Great speed at all 3 spots. Williams at third, Rasmussen at short, at second is Bishop. Hakopian man's first for his 4th straight game, and it's Jason Schiavone behind the plate. Brings up Amani Jones. Switch hitter hitting from the left side. The first pitch to him is a fastball just below the knees, a ball and no strikes.
You're going to see a heavy dose of that fastball from Hostetler, but he does have 2 breaking balls, has the changeup as well. And stellar in his last time out against Southern Maryland.
1-0. Fastball, and Jones lines it right back off the netting behind the plate. Even at a ball and a strike as Justin Costanzo, the man on deck, retrieves the baseball. Nice lead off first for Gross. Stays put, 1-1, and a swing and a miss from Jones. He's down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Jones, an excellent season for Stevenson this past spring. 2023 All-MAC Commonwealth 2nd team, the shortstop. 1-2, and just gets a piece of a low fastball and sends it back behind the plate. Pants pulled up to his knees, Jones waits on a 1-2, and it's outside with a fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's blue socks with 3 red stripes around his upper shin. Colors of the T-Bolts. 2-2. Jones reaches out and pops a fastball foul down the third baseline. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count remains.
To see Hostetler maybe try to challenge Jones right here, maybe try to get something inside. He's been working that outside corner a little bit. Hostetler has a real good fastball.
2-2. Jones grounds one weakly to the right side. The second baseman, Phelps Fields, goes to second, and it is just in time to get Gross. Had to work to his left, then Fields throws to second. That's actually Bishop at second base, but he gets the out. 4-6 on the fielder's choice. Amani Jones reaches safely at first.
Yeah, it's for Bishop not a great decision to go to second. That ball was hit so slow.
It's Justin Costanzo at the plate. He watches the first pitch fastball, picture perfect at the knees. No balls and a strike.
Not only that, but Bishop was also ranging more towards his left, had to spin to make that play to second base.
0-1, runner on the move, a swing from Costanzo, and he pops it foul behind the plate, forces Jones to head back to first, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes to the cleanup man. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. The slider fools Costanzo. A pair of punch-outs for Hostetler in the first. And he does not allow a run. 1-0 Big Train as we head to the top of the second here from Silver Spring. Top of the second, 1-0 the Big Train lead. Eli Kleinman, Adam Glover, and Max Martzoff back in the booth as Jason Schiavone comes to the plate to lead things off against Loy Hickman. And the first pitch from the sidearm right-hander is a slider outside, a ball and no strikes. First sidearm pitcher the Big Train have seen this summer.
Yeah.
1-0. Schiavone takes high with a fastball. 2 balls, no strikes.
Had a few, like, three-quarter. Even the right-hander who pitched in game 1 in that 9th inning, very similar as well.
Here's the 2-0. Swing and a miss from Schiavone. 2 balls and a strike. Not a lot of sidearm guys you see in this league, Max.
I'm surprised we even found one.
And a starting pitcher, no less. 2-1. Schiavone takes inside with the slider. 3 balls and a strike.
He spits on that.
There's the 3-1 from Hickman. Stands tall on the mound. Inside to Schiavone, ball 4. And the guy who leads the Big Train in walks leads off the top of the second with 1.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
So Zeb Ruddle to the plate with nobody out and a runner at first. And he takes a fastball on the outside corner, called a strike, 0-1.
We mentioned it yesterday. We had him as our roll-a-bump limited player of the game. Zeb, one of the biggest hits, especially this season, with just how the offense has been, Max.
It's the triple down the line. 0-1. Called strike with a fastball.
You really going to give him that?
And Ruddle has a quick discussion with our home plate umpire, down 0-2. Hickman deals an 0-2 pitch, and the fastball outside. A ball and 2 strikes.
I wonder how much his social media is going to go up when he gets that national championship ring from LSU.
That's true.
Part of the Tigers team that won the title. One-two pitch, runner on the move. Ruddle swings and flies it into shallow left center. Long run for the center fielder Sickley, and he's able to track it down in the gap for out number 1.
It was a ball that carried a little bit to left center field. You mentioned the wind kind of blowing out, so looked like a fly ball to center, but then kind of went to the left and started coming more inward.
As a pitcher on the mound, Max, are those the ones that make you a little nervous? Just little pop-ups into the gap?
Yeah.
As Dixon Williams stands in, takes the slider outside off the glove of the catcher Wingard, and over to second goes Schiavone.
Yeah, no, you always get scared of those little Bermuda Triangle pop-ups because you never know which one of your infielders / outfielders are going to call for it. And then the collisions are always the scariest part.
T-Bolt's able to make the catch on that one as the 1-0 to Williams is swing and a miss on a fastball, a ball and a strike.
I know this one's irrelevant, but I'd like to shout out my boy Nolan Shanuel, Big Train alumni, getting drafted first overall to the Angels.
Yes, it was our highest draft pick of all time.
1-1, Williams grounds one the other way. The shortstop Jones Fields, long throw to first is
Bad call.
in time.
Oh,
For out number 2, over to third goes Schiavone.
I mean, we saw yesterday the first run, Eli, that came in, if you remember, was that little infield single from Dixon Williams before the Ruddle 3-run triple. And, I mean, he looks like he had that one beat, just didn't get the call. But, I mean, continuing just to show off the speed and the athleticism.
So to the plate comes Casey Bishop with a runner at third and 2 down. And the first pitch slider outside. Well, you mentioned your teammate at Florida Atlantic getting drafted, and a long history between the Owls and the Big Train. No team has had more players come to Bethesda than Florida Atlantic. And Max is obviously the latest one, that long line. So 1-0 called a strike on the outside corner. It's a ball and a strike with 2 down. 1-0 the Big Train lead in the top of the second.
Just honored to carry that tradition on. Hopefully the next generation can step up.
1-1. Pitch low in the dirt outside. 2 balls and a strike.
Nice catch, 33.
Do you live with some of the other players, like in a dorm or in an apartment or something, or are you on your own?
Are we talking about at school?
Yeah, we're talking about score, like at Florida Atlantic.
Okay, yeah.
2-1. Bishop flies it into shallow left. The shortstop Jones calls for it. Jones Jr. comes in, and the left fielder calls off his shortstop to make the grab and end the inning. We'll finish this discussion on the other side, but it's 1-0 Big Train as we head to the bottom of the second from Silver Spring.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up.
Welcome back to Silver Spring. 1-0 the Big Train lead in the bottom of the second. Due up for the T-Bolts is Soltis, Wingard, and Walters. Still have Max Martzoff on with us. And back to the mound goes Jack Hostetler, the right-hander. First pitch to Soltis. Fastball paints the outside corner for a strike, 0-1.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Grandma.
Couple more shout-outs from Max here in inning number 2. As the 0-1, Soltis hits a shallow fly ball to right. Twigo takes a few steps in and makes the easy catch out and right for out number 1. So Max, when you came on in game 1, you said pitching only an emergency. Then you had to come in the bottom of the 7th and get the save. For you, how do you process when you find out you're actually going into the game when you might not be expecting it early?
Oh, that's a great question. I think you got to just play it out by the situation. I mean, we come back tied up. I had a feeling Schuyler was going to go back out if the game was still tied. And then all of a sudden we took the lead off Connor. And
1-0 home, a swing and a miss by Wingard. The count even at a ball and a strike.
But yeah, after we saw that go-ahead run score, I had a feeling. I was like, I got to get hot now. As I'm getting chirped by Hutto and Patrick Gale right now.
1-1 pitch, and the slider catches the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. Wingard, California native. 1-2. Slider is just outside. He holds up the swing in time. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, a 1-2-3 bottom of the 7th to get the save. Big win for the Big Train. 2-2. Fastball is a called third strike. And it goes down as a strikeout of Wingard for out number 2.
That has got to be the latest strike call I've ever seen.
That's also not what you do when you call strike 3, 0.2 fingers.
I think he thought it was strike 2. Matthew Walters to the plate after an unconventional strikeout.
I believe they called it on the swing, not the pitch.
I didn't even see him swing.
First pitch to Walters, a swing and a miss, and that's a real swing. Foul tip into the glove of Schiavone. No balls and a strike. Oh, 1. Fastball.
Great spot.
Pinpoints on the outside corner. Called a strike, 0-2. Hostetler has retired the last 5 after a leadoff base hit. 0-2 pitch, and the slider skips in the dirt outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
Now, Max, I have a question for you. Is there a designated closer role? Are you in that, or is it just kind of who's ready that night?
So
It's mostly who's ready that night.
A foul tip into the glove. It goes down as a strikeout, the 4th of the day for Hostetler. Let you finish real quick, Max.
Yeah, no, it's usually just who's available that night, and they just play it by situation.
Well, we appreciate Max Martzoff for joining us in the second. On to the third in Silver Spring, 1-0, the lead for the Big Train.
Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, 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 The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me.
Top of the third, 1-0 Big Train. Is back to the mound, returns Loy Hickman. Eddie Hakopian to the plate. Righty on righty matchup. He swings at the first pitch, grounds it sharply down the third base line. A bobble by the third baseman Gross, able to pick it up next to the bag and fire to first in time to get Hakopian one down.
It's actually a really tough play to make as a third baseman because when that ball goes out of the glove, it kicks towards the line. You know, when you backhand it, and you don't have a lot of time to set your feet and kind of look to first base. You just have to throw based off of memory, and it was a perfect strike to first.
So Rasmussen to the plate with one down and nobody on base. He squares the bunt, pulls it back, and takes a fastball just above his shoot tops. Skips to the backstop, a ball and no strikes. Hickman with that glove up against his left hip, gets the sign and comes set. 1-0. Fastball well high, 2 balls and no strikes. Big Train trying to sweep their first doubleheader of the season. They have split the first 3 doubleheaders so far. 2-0. Rasmussen watches a fastball off the outside. 3 balls and no strikes.
And I remember Kaylee asked us that one time, you know, why are they struggling? That's such a hard question to answer because really we don't know as broadcasters. They really shouldn't be.
3-0 and the fastball inside, ball 4. Third walk allowed by Hickman today, and Rasmussen reaches with one down.
Yeah, and, you know, the unfortunate part of it, too, for the Big Train is these double headers we've played have not been against the Aces or the Crop Dusters. We will have one eventually against the Aces. So, like the one in D.C., for example, just a game that the Big Train should have won.
Or to the plate and watches a slider catch the outside corner, no balls and a strike. But you mentioned the Crop Dusters. The Big Train play them tomorrow with either a 1-game lead or a 2-game lead in the division after the Crop Dusters won today. And this game dependent on that. 0-1. Swing and a miss from Orr on a fastball high and inside. Quickly down 0-2.
Yeah, and the Crop Dusters have won, I think, 3 straight against us. And
With 2 to play.
right, and so they've already guaranteed a season split. They have the season series against us in a tiebreaker right now. And really, in those games,
0-2 to Orr, and he fouls it right back off the netting. Stays no balls and 2 strikes.
really in those games, they've just looked like the better team. You know, the Big Train played a very competitive game against them, the last one, but they were playing from behind the whole time. So even then had to play catch up throughout the night.
0-2. Orr hits a high fly ball down the left field line, and it is well foul, but hit hard and far. Count remains no balls and 2 strikes. What's interesting when you look at the Big Train's record against the other 2 teams in the Big 3 in this league, the Big 3 being the Aces, the Crop Dusters, and the Big Train, it is not great at the moment.
Right.
0-2 pitch. Orr takes a fastball inside. Late break from Rasmussen. Throw down to second. Is there in time. Wingard throws him out. The delayed steal does not pay off, and there's 2 down.
That's tough. And I think, I don't know an exact number on it, but the last few games, Big Train, a lot of runners caught on the bases, whether it's stealing or if it's a rundown or just something like that. Not great base running for the Big Train.
It's a Big Train team that likes to be aggressive on the base paths. As Orr down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes with 2 away. And here's the pitch, a swing and a miss, a strikeout ends the inning. Second of the day for Hickman, and the Big Train go down in order. On to the bottom of the third, the Big Train lead 1-0 from Silver Spring.
Boogie down.
Bottom of the third from Silver Spring at Blair Field. Big Train and T-Bolts. It's 1-0. The Big Train's lead. Jack Hostetler back to the mound to face Jonathan McMath. And the first pitch is upstairs to the lefty. A ball and no strikes. Fastball misses up high. McMath, one of the most productive seasons in the junior college ranks this past spring, as he rolls a 1-0 to the right side. The second baseman, Bishop Fields, moving to his left, sets his feet and throws in time for out number 1.
Yeah, nice seeing Hostetler right now move very quickly. He's got a couple of strikeouts already in both of the first 2 innings. And, you know, a guy who originally pitching out of the bullpen, really making him a name for himself, especially these last 2 outings in the rotation.
As Cam Jones Jr. steps up, squares, pulls back a bunt attempt, and goes around, according to our third base umpire. It's no balls and a strike. Hostetler has pitched really well, with the Big Train needing another starter in the mix. 0-1. Fastball just off the outside.
Yeah.
A ball and a strike.
Surprise players and performances are always the best part of a coach's job. You just don't know who's really going to take that next step.
1-1. Downstairs in the dirt to Jones Jr. 2 balls and a strike with 1 out. Nobody on base and a 1-0 Big Train lead in the bottom of the third. Hostetler, one of several guys from the West Coast. Went to Alhambra High School in the East Bay. 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jones Jr., whereas most of the Northern California Big Train come from the South Bay, just below San Francisco. East Bay located across the Bay Bridge, where Berkeley and Oakland are also located. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Jones Jr. goes down on the strikeout. 5th of the day for Hostetler. 2 down.
Yeah, for a lot of these Big Train pitchers this year, the breaking ball has been their put-away pitch. That slider from like Galley or Cassidy. But Hostetler, that fastball is just sometimes unhittable. So you completely understand that that's his put-away pitch. It just blows past hitters.
Zane Gross back to the plate, the leadoff man. Takes a first pitch fastball in for a strike, 0-1. No batting gloves for the rising freshman. Hits from the right side. Had a base hit in the top of the first, or bottom of the first. 0-1, a swing and a miss. Chases a pitch in the dirt. Down 0-2 as he scoops up some dirt and rubs his hands. Tries to get a better grip on that bat. No tape on the bat either for this third baseman. 0-2. Hits a little looper to the left side. Dixon Williams makes the catch in the air at third base to end the inning. 1-2-3 once again go the T-Bolts. 9 straight retired by Hostetler, and we head to the 4th. It's 1-0 Big Train.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, fix up. Boogie down, fix up.
Top of the fourth, 1-0 the Big Train lead. And it's Jeffrey Hurd up for Bethesda, 4, 5, and 6. Hurd an RBI single in the first to plate the only run of the game. First pitch from Hickman, back out for his fourth inning, and the slider stays outside. A ball and no strikes.
Yeah, I think the game plan for Hurd is going to just to continue to be pitch him outside, but for him, you know, velocity really isn't there right now for the right-handers, so just be ready in case something leaks.
1-0, and the fastball with some run away from the lefty hitter is called a strike. It's a ball and a strike, the count. Hurd the only hit of the day for the Big Train back in that first inning. 1-1. Hurd swings and lines one down the right field line. It's a fair ball, and it one-hops the fence. Big turn from Hurd at first, heads to second. The throw from the right fielder, Walters, is too strong, and Jeffrey Hurd has a two-hit day, a leadoff double in the top of the fourth.
Yep, exactly what I said just happened. The ball didn't look like a fastball. I think it was a breaking ball, but broke inward towards the plate. The command hasn't been there over the last few hitters. And Jeffrey Hurd, especially on a pitch velocity-wise like that, that isn't as high as some other pitches, he's not going to miss that pitch.
So Dean Twygo to the plate with a runner at second and nobody out. A line out back to the pitcher, his first at-bat. Swings at the first pitch, lines it foul down the right field line. A matter of feet, but Twygo seeing the baseball well. As he steps out, as they track down that baseball, leans on the bat. Big Train trying to sweep the doubleheader and make it 3 straight wins. As time called, and it looks like a baseball has flown out of the Big Train bullpen.
Yeah, Austin Morris went to retrieve it and jumped over the fence, through the bushes, down the mulch.
Parkour.
Parkour.
As Twygo ready again, 0-1. Takes a slider inside, checks his swing, and does not go around, as he had to lean his hips back to get out of the way. It's a ball and a strike. The wind still heading out towards left field, down that left field line, 1-1. Twygo swings and fouls one off of himself. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Clouds have become heavier overhead in Silver Spring, as the once 95-degree day has certainly cooled down. Hurd off a second, nobody out. Top of the fourth, 1-2 to Twygo. And the fastball just outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's 1-0 Big Train as they look to extend their lead in game 2 of the doubleheader. Hickman ready, 2-2. Twygo takes downstairs with a fastball, 3 balls and 2 strikes. On deck, Jason Schiavone. Hickman stares in for the sign, set at the belt. A couple looks back at Hurd, 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss from Twygo. He strikes out, and there's one away.
That's good location. Even the pitches that had missed to Twygo were moving down or were moving in. And then, you know, you change the eye level with the pitch being low before and go outside, which is something he hadn't done yet. It's the perfect placement for that pitch against Twygo. 3rd
strikeout of the day for Hickman. And it brings up Schiavone, who walked to lead off the 2nd. Pitch into him, and he swings and misses at a fastball. 0-1 the count. Big Train playing in their 3rd straight game away from home. round out a 3-day, 4-game road trip tomorrow in Olney as Hickman steps off and chases Hurd back to the bag without a throw.
So far, everything going right for the Big Train. Still have time in this game if you're the T-Bolts to come back, but Big Train have looked good today.
The 0-1 and a slider paints the inside corner to the right-handed hitter. From the right-handed sidearm pitcher, nothing into the count. Schiavone quickly behind in the count. He resets in the box. Hickman finally ready. 0-2. Slider outside. It hits off the glove of Wingard and rolls to the backstop. Over to third on a late jog goes Hurd. It's a pass ball on the catcher. And there's a runner at third with only one away. The count, a ball and 2 strikes to Schiavone.
Yeah, and that ball was headed straight for the dugout as well. So potentially saved another base. Had Jeffrey Hurd been rounding that base, you know, that one going out of play would have been awarded home.
1-2. Schiavone pops one up right side. The catcher Wingard over the first baseman McNath calls him off, and in foul territory just a few feet off the first baseline makes the catch for out number 2. With 2 away, Zeb Ruddle to the plate with a runner at third after the leadoff double by Hurd.
Well, for Zeb, we know he loves to hit the pitch inside, and he's really good with breaking balls. We've seen it this year. That's what the triple was. That's what both of his home runs were. So you gotta try to work Zeb Ruddle away, and you don't have the risk as much of it going the opposite field with Jones not having to cover anybody at second.
First pitch to the Big Train center fielder, and the fastball a little upstairs, a ball and no strikes. Ruddle had the big 2-out hit last night in the win over Gaithersburg. 1-0, and the slider stays outside, low and in the dirt. Nice job by Wingard to keep it in front. 2 balls and no strikes. It was the 3 RBI triple for Ruddle to break things open for the Big Train. Finally, the clutch hit they had been searching for over the past several games. 2-0. Ruddle swings away and lines one foul over the Big Train dugout down the third baseline. 2 balls and a strike.
Not only do you have Ruddle up, but you also have Williams on deck. So a couple of lefties here who could do some damage to Hickman. Zeb just has to find a way to get on.
Ahead in the count, 2-1. Here it comes. Takes a fastball outside. 3 balls and a strike.
It's the right area, but just not that competitive of a pitch. But we've seen Zeb sometimes struggles with that fastball outside.
Rests the bat over his left shoulder as Hickman steps off and watches Hurd take a step back towards the base. No throw and no one covering. 3-1 pitch. Fastball well outside. Ball 4 to Ruddle. It's the 4th walk in 4 innings for Hickman, and it puts runners at the corners with 2 away for Dixon Williams, and a meeting on the mound between the T-Bolts catcher, the infield, Hickman, and the Silver Spring Tacoma manager, Brock Hunter.
For the most part, Hickman has pitched well. The walk's a bit of an issue for him so far, but he's been able to work out of some of these situations because both the second and the third, he at least pitched with the runner on, even if it wasn't as dangerous as now or that first inning. It's just here, with it being 7 innings, this is almost like the 7th for them or the 6th. You know, you have to settle down now. You can't make the mistakes now. You're running out of time.
We're in the 4th. We play 7. And almost time for the T-Bolts to start counting down their outs. Runners at the corners, 2 down. Dixon Williams to the plate in the first pitch. Fastball outside, a ball and no strikes. Do you expect Ruddle to take off at some point? The Big Train love to utilize first and third.
It would have to be in the right count, but I'll let the pitch go by.
1-0, well inside, and Williams has to back out of the way. Wingard stabs at it with his glove and just keeps it from the backstop. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
It would have to be the right count, but I don't know what Sal's mind is right now. These last 2 or 3 games, the Big Train have not done well with base runners, and they need them.
2-0. And Williams takes a called strike on the outside corner and instantly looks back, frustrated with the call. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, if Williams gets to a 2-strike count, I could see Ruddle often going. Try to avoid the force at second, and if Williams puts it in play, maybe get another run.
2-1. Williams swings and fouls one back and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. 1-0 Big Train. Top of the 4th. Hurd at third. Ruddle at first. Hickman deals. Ruddle on the move. Swing and a miss from Williams. It's the 2nd strikeout of the inning for Loy Hickman, and he avoids any damage after giving up the leadoff double. On to the bottom of the 4th we go. Halfway home in Silver Spring, 1-0 the lead for the Big Train.
Till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move, boogie down.
Bottom of the 4th. Matthew Sickley leads things off against Jack Hosteller. 1-0 Big Train. He swings at the first pitch, hits a 1-hopper to the right side. The second baseman Bishop to his left. Field sets his feet and throws for out number 1. And the second baseman makes the play on 1 pitch. 10 straight retired by Hosteller. 1 down for Amani Jones. Well, while the Big Train offense has come up with very little since the first inning, Jack Hosteller has worked easily through this T-Bolts lineup. As Jones takes a first pitch fastball, picture perfect on the outside corner, called a strike, 0-1.
And it's perfect timing, too, with how tough the schedule is coming up.
0-1, Jones squares, misses on the bunt. Upset with himself, had a fastball down the middle to bunt, and jumps as he returns to the box in frustration, points towards the dugout. And settles back in, down 0-2. The pitch from Hosteller. Change up in the dirt, it's a ball and 2 strikes. Mentioned the schedule getting difficult. Big Train over the next week will face the Crop Dusters twice and the Aces 3 times to finish out their season. 1-2. Hard grounder to the left side. Rasmussen Fields throws across his body. A rifle, it's in time to get Jones for out number 2. The shortstop moves to his right, fields, and shows off the strong arm. What a play by Connor Rasmussen.
He continues to impress. He is the everyday shortstop for us, and he deserves that spot.
It's Costanzo to the plate and a swing and a miss at a fastball, 0-1.
And going back to Hostetler, though, is for us, meaning the Big Train and the Cal Ripken League, you can get away with a four-man rotation because
0-1 pitch down in the dirt with a fastball, ball, and a strike.
you typically only play 6 times a week if everything is scheduled. And we've seen Sal Colangelo. Usually these guys only go 4 innings. So it's not like they're going out there tossing 7 innings and then have to pitch in 4 days.
1-1 outside, 2 balls and a strike. And the rain this summer has also helped give additional time off. The 4 regulars in the rotation have been Erdelschweiger, Galley, Gutierrez, and Cassidy. 2-1. Costanzo grounds one down the first base line. Hakopian fields. He takes it to the bag. It's a close play, but he gets there just in time. The first baseman shows off his wheels to end the inning. Hostetler quickly claiming that 5th spot in the rotation, 12 straight retired since the top of the first. We go to the 5th, 1-0 Big Train.
The juices in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down there, baby. Can you boogie down? The juices in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juices in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby,
welcome back to Silver Spring. It's 1-0 Big Train as we play into the top of the 5th. Eli Kleinman, Kaylee Tallman. And up to the plate comes the 9-hitter Casey Bishop to face the new pitcher Eric Elliott in his 9th appearance of the summer. 9.52 ERA, and the first pitch from the lefty rifles in a fastball at the knees, 0-1. Elliott has gone 2 scoreless innings against the Big Train in his debut back on June 4th. 0-1, and the fastball outside, a ball and a strike.
Much closer game this time than last time. Only a 1-0 score so far. But as we know, the Big Train have struggled to close out the second game in doubleheader, so we'll have to see how it goes in the later innings here. Eli, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the case. 2-1 pitch to Bishop. He flies it into shallow right field. Long run for the right fielder Walters, and it's the second baseman Soltis on the back pedal who brings it in for out number 1, the second baseman in shallow right field. It has been a struggle for the Big Train. 0-3 in the second game of double headers. Back to the top for Eddie Hakopian. But as of now, the pitching and Jack Hostetler, the starter, has kept the T-Bolts at bay. First pitch into Hakopian and a slider called a strike on the outside corner, 0-1.
And Hostetler did so well last time he pitched as well, so not surprising. He's been so consistent here again.
0-1. Hakopian hits a fly ball in the air to center, tosses his bat aside. It's Sickley who calls for it, and the center fielder brings it in for out number 2. The Big Train have had to rely on their pitching with the offense struggling as of late, and won their first game when they allowed more than 3 runs earlier this afternoon for the first time in their last 17 games.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Train at the start of the season seemed to be scoring more than 10 runs every game, and since then, it's been less than 5.
As the first pitch slider skips back behind the plate and almost hits our photographer, Peter Lee, through the netting. But, of course, the netting has some give, so have to watch out. We are sitting under the grandstand behind the plate.
Honestly, earlier, Eli, it was nice. Shade from the sun.
It was 95 earlier as the 1-0 skips in the dirt on a slider, and Rasmussen holds up his swing. 2 balls and no strikes.
Connor was struggling earlier this season, or as of late, but seemed to be breaking out of that with his triple last game.
An RBI triple got the rally started in game 1. The Big Train were trailing 5-1 in the top of the 6th with 6 outs to work with. 2-0, slider well inside, 3 balls and no strikes. Had an RBI triple, scored a run, and then brought home the go-ahead run on what was ruled an error by the second baseman. But a sharply hit baseball. 3-0. Rasmussen watches a fastball down the middle, 3 balls and a strike.
This game seemingly going much faster than last game did.
Our producer, Harrison Myers, believes you just sent us into another extra hour of baseball somewhere down the line as the 3-1 pitch outside with a fastball. 4 balls and a walk for Rasmussen puts a runner on with 2 down. You are right. The game is going much faster, but
I'm confident in the pitching abilities. Confident.
first pitch to Orr is just inside with the fastball. A ball and no strikes.
Or another player that's been really consistent so far in the past couple games.
Vital part of this lineup for the Big Train. 1-0. Slider paints the outside corner, a ball and a strike. As Adam Glover joins us once again.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Long time no see. Orr ready, 1-1. Swings and lines one, left field. It lands in front of the left fielder, Jones Jr. It's a base hit for Orr and a start of a potential 2-out rally. Runners at first and second with 2 away for the dangerous Jeffrey Hurd.
And you said it, he's been so dangerous all season and all game.
Had the only 2 hits up until that point when Orr just lined his single into left field. An RBI single in the first, a double an inning ago in the 4th.
If I'm a pitcher, I do not want to face Jeffrey Hurd.
Yeah, that's how most of the league feels. Tied for first in home runs, leads the league in RBIs. The first pitch to him, a fastball well outside, a ball and no strikes.
I don't know if you noticed this, Eli, but we talked about it a few weeks ago. Jacob Orr not doing very well against lefties. All of a sudden, last however many games, starting to find a swing a little bit.
Yeah, he's a very productive hitter and a guy that you knew with time starts swinging it well. 1-0, inside with the slider, 2 balls and no strikes. Interesting, earlier in the summer, as you mentioned, had reverse splits, hit righties a lot better than he did lefties. And starting to hit lefties better as he sees more of them into the summer. 1-0 Big Train lead, top of the 5th. Runners at first and second with 2 down. The 2-0 pitch. Hurd swings and misses at a fastball. Took a hearty cut, but comes up empty. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Who was it? Was it Martzoff that was talking about Orr, how he just showed up out of nowhere and then reached base like in 8 consecutive plate appearances to start his career?
Believe so. Was the 2-1 outside with the fastball, 3 balls and a strike. A really nice pickup, not on the opening day roster for the Big Train. And there have been several of those guys throughout the summer.
And he's been a consistent member in the roster since then.
Valuable pieces, played left field for most of the summer. 3-1. Hurd swings, lines one into right field. It's a base hit. Walters fields it on a hop around third. Here comes Rasmussen. The throw from Walters is late. Rasmussen slides in safely. The Big Train double their lead. It's 2-0 on another RBI single from Jeffrey Hurd.
We said Jeffrey Hurd was dangerous. That's exactly why. Beautiful hit out to right field there.
And the RBI leader across the Cal Ripken League has picked up 2 more today to push his total to 32 on the summer. Runners at first and second with 2 down, and Dean Twigo to the plate. Lefty on lefty matchup. First pitch to Twigo, and the slider stays upstairs. A ball and no strikes. Twigo, another one of the Big Train outfielders who has started to really pick it up offensively. As he takes a 1-0 fastball upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes.
He had one of the lower batting averages to start the season, but has definitely picked it up since and has been a very key hitter in recent games especially.
Hits in each of his last 3 games. Hitless so far, 2-0. Takes a slider well downstairs. It's 3 balls and no strikes.
If you remember, too, Dean wasn't, until recently, wasn't an everyday starter. He was kind of every other day, and I think getting everyday at-bats and playing every game has helped him.
As the 3-0, a called strike with a fastball at the knees, 3 balls and a strike. And since getting a few more at-bats, he has really forced Sal Colangelo's hand to put him in the starting lineup. The batting average as of late doesn't even tell the full story of how hard he's hit the baseball. 3-1, swings away and rolls one foul down the first base line. The count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and the runners will be on, or they will not be on the move with runners at second and third.
If you remember back to the game in Waldorf, Twigo pinched hit in the 9th and hit that long line out to center. That's kind of the start of when he's really picked it up.
3-2, grounds one foul again down the first base line. And the
Bit of a
count
fight
remains
at
full.
the plate here.
Certainly is. One of the nicest guys on this Big Train team. Another one of the California kids from Southern California in Orange County. Not too far from Disneyland. 3-2, slider, and he just gets a piece off the end of the bat and dribbles it back to the fence behind the plate. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
So is he from Anaheim or is he from south of Anaheim? Because that's where Disneyland is.
He's from Yorba Linda, which is a small town right down in Orange County.
Yes, I know where
near
Disneyland is.
I'm glad you know where Disneyland is.
It's a Disney.
You have
Heading
a
up-
Disney in Florida. 3-2, takes low and outside with a fastball, ball 4, the bases are loaded.
Heading up to Eugene next season, though, to go play with the Oregon Ducks.
Gonna fly his way up there.
Oh my God, Eli, you and the puns, I swear.
That's just a good one. Gonna take flight for an Oregon team that won the Pac-12 tournament this past spring. Is a meeting on the mound with Eric Elliott. And it's actually a program in Eugene that was brought back not too long ago and has been fantastic over the last decade or so.
Gotta admit, nothing beats Oregon merch.
Yeah, the Nike school, of course, the founder of Nike, an Oregon alum, and invests heavily in the school's athletics, including baseball.
That's an understatement. Some of the nicest facilities I've seen, not baseball-wise necessarily, but everything else, it seems.
Oregon's ballpark, PK Park, is actually used by the San Francisco Giants single-A team, the Eugene Emeralds. Schiavone to the plate with the bases loaded. The first pitch skips in the dirt, a ball and no strikes. With 2 outs and 1 run already in, the Big Train a chance to break this game wide open. It's 2-0 in the top of the 5th. At third is Orr, at second is Hurd, at first is Twigo. And Elliott steps off to watch Twigo take 2 steps back towards the first base bag. Schiavone, the team leader in walks, waits on a 1-0, takes another fastball in the dirt, 2 balls and no strikes, and not the right guy to try and help you out if you're a pitcher with the bases loaded.
Yeah, Jason's the toughest guy to throw to in the lineup. The walks, the hit by pitches, and you know, sometimes he gets into these 2-0 counts and he avoids swinging just to try to draw a walk.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
well upstairs, it's 3 balls and no strikes, and Eric Elliott in the tricky task of needing to find the strike zone when the command not there at the moment. Bases loaded, 2 outs. A 2-out rally for the Big Train. 3-0 pitch is a fastball that paints the lower part of the zone. It's 3 balls and a strike. Schiavone, a shake of his head as he stands back in. Elliott stares in, has the sign. Set at the belt. 3-1. Fastball is a called strike as Schiavone was ready to toss the bat to the dugout. The count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Jason's got an opportunity here to pick up potentially 3 with the runners off and going. He did that against the Crop Dusters when he drove in Williams from first base.
Huge lead from Twigo at first. Now 5 steps off the bag. Runners go, 3-2. Schiavone takes a called third strike on the inside corner. The 2-seamer from Eric Elliott gets the strikeout and limits the damage. But 1 run does cross. The Big Train doubled their lead on a couple hits and the RBI single from Jeffrey Hurd. Bottom of the 5th on the way. It's 2-0 Big Train.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride
Keegan Soltis leads off the bottom of the 5th. Big Train lead 2-0. With the T-Bolts still searching for their first run. And Hostetler back to the mound, and he fires in a first pitch fastball. It's no balls and a strike. 12 straight retired by Hostetler since he allowed the leadoff single to begin the game. Soltis waits on an 0-1. Swings and hits a low fastball up the middle. The second baseman, Bishop, fields on the backhand, spins and throws in time for out number 1. Just gets Soltis.
A ball just flew onto the field, headed towards the mound. It went to the third base umpire right now. Home plate umpire just shrugs his shoulders, but that went flying onto the field.
And I'm not sure whether that came from the dugout or
No, it came from,
stands,
I think
or-
it came from up here because,
I'm not sure that's a baseball.
no, it looks like a bouncy ball.
It's a lacrosse ball.
Oh, you're right.
maybe
and there
another
is a
field?
lacrosse field that is behind us, and there was practice going on earlier. So there's the
Somebody
mystery
didn't
behind
make the
the
team.
unknown flying object. Is Bowman Wingard to the plate, and he swings at a first pitch and turns on a fastball, but foul down the third base line. No balls and a strike. It's Hostetler ready on the mound. 0-1, and a fastball well up and inside, a ball and a strike. Just the one base runner back in the first inning. The righty on the mound. This Big Train pitching staff, far and away the best pitching staff in the league. The only team with an ERA under 3. And the 5 shutouts they have this summer leads the league. 1-1 well up and in, 2 balls and a strike.
Hostetler going strong in his 5th inning here.
Really, the only question is, can he keep doing what he's been doing? As the 2-1 outside, 3 balls and a strike.
He had a very healthy pen, though, because game 1 you only had to use a couple of guys, and then yesterday it was such a blowout that the guys that were used are not high leverage guys.
3-1. A high fly ball into left field. Back goes Orr. He looks up. Goodbye.
Wow.
Bowman Wingard hits a solo shot to get the T-Bolts on the board. The first hit since the first inning, and the lead cut in half. It's 2-1. Big Train still lead in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, it was just a fastball that leaked over the plate, and it hit up where the stairs on the outside of the fire department are and went off the wall and kicked back down. Jacob Orr only jogged for a couple of feet and
No
no
doubter.
chance. Yeah, no chance.
It's Matthew Walters to the plate, and he foul tips one into the glove of Schiavone.
And this is the time the Big Train have struggled to close out those games in the doubleheaders. The past 3 times they've played doubleheaders, so we'll see if they start to fall apart again here towards the end of the game.
0-1 pitch, and the slider catches the outside corner, 0-2. Unable to hold on to a lead in DC in the second game of that doubleheader on Saturday. And what was eventually a 4-2 loss. 0-2 pitch, a swing and a miss, and a pitch in the dirt. It's a strikeout. Schiavone picks it up. His throw to first is late and offline, and Walters able to reach on the drop third strike.
Yeah, you got to give some credit to Walters, who was hooking it down that line. That ball didn't bounce away from Schiavone that far, and by the time Jason picked it up, Walters was almost to the bag.
And Schiavone's usually a pretty pinpoint thrower there, so kind of surprising out of him.
I don't think he realized he didn't have that much time to,
I think that's exactly the
Yeah.
case. And by the time he threw it, it was just too late. Walters off the bag at first. McMath at the plate in the first pitch, up and outside with a fastball. A ball and no strikes. 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Big Train lead 2-1, but the tying run at first and the go-ahead run at the plate for the T-Bolts. 1-0, runner on the move, and McMath swings and pops it foul behind the plate. It's a ball and a strike. It was the big inning that hurt the Big Train in DC on Saturday. 3 runs in the bottom of the third put the Grays ahead for good. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss from McMath on an inside fastball. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
He just went inside. We'll see if either this one or the next one he tries to go up and away, especially with that good fastball.
Runner goes 1-2, swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt, gets away from Schiavone, rolls towards the first base dugout. He doesn't know where it is. Hostetler, the pitcher, picks it up, and by the time he does, Walters is already in at third. Hostetler throws it that way, but it's well late, and runners at the corners with 1 out after back-to-back strikeouts, and Schiavone insistent that it hit the bat of Jonathan McMath.
Yeah, he's standing there looking extremely confused right now.
And they are actually calling McMath out on batter's interference, and first base was occupied. So a runner at third with 2 down for Cam Jones Jr. And the first pitch outside, a ball and no strikes. Crazy couple plays, but the Big Train lucky to get the out. A ball and no strikes. The 1-0 skips in the dirt between the legs of Schiavone to the backstop. Here comes Walters. He's in to score standing. And the T-Bolts have tied the game in the bottom of the 5th. It's 2-2.
And here, like I said, we got to clean it up.
You think Schiavone's just a little rattled right now? That's 3 that have gotten past him, and the argument for the one prior as well.
It's just a couple fastballs that have been spiked and not on the same page. 2-0, and Jones bunts it foul behind the plate. He slams his bat towards the ground. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Emotions just seem to be a little bit heightened today.
These teams got into it a little bit in game 1. And clearly invested again in game 2 as the 2-1 pitch high and wide with a fastball. 3 balls and a strike with 2 outs.
If you're Cam Jones here, you're just swinging at your pitch. If not, take the walk.
And the 3-1 is outside, ball 4. Tosses the bat to the dugout. And it's a 2-out walk. Puts the go-ahead run at first for the T-Bolts in the bottom of the 5th. Back to the top for Zane Gross. With the closed stance from the right side. Runner goes, gets a good jump, pitch upstairs, throw down from Schiavone is not in time. Jones Jr. slides in feet first safely, and the go-ahead run in scoring position for the T-Bolts in the home half of the 5th with 2 down. A ball and no strikes to Gross. Has one of just 2 hits for the T-Bolts on the day. Runner goes again, 1-0, and Gross fouls it right back off the screen. It's a ball and a strike. A couple really good jumps from Cam Jones Jr.
Yeah, he's got a lot of speed, and Schiavone's got a great arm, maybe a little rattled right now, and you got a tie game now. You're the home team, so you'll get the bottom of the 7th. So if he gets thrown out, you don't want that to happen, but it's not the end of the world.
Leads off second, Hostetler steps off and throws back. Jones Jr. back in on his feet.
Schiavone also had a conversation with the pitcher after one of his at-bats earlier in the first game there. Seemed a little tense.
Pitch to Gross on the 1-1, and a fastball dots the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes with 2 down. All tied in the bottom of the 5th, thanks to a solo home run from Wingard, and Walters scored on a wild pitch. 1-2, runner goes again, and Gross reaches out and just taps the slider back to the screen. It stays a ball and 2 strikes.
That's the best course for Hostetler. That's 2 pitches out there on that part of the zone. Get that runner going to third, but if you can try to keep him off balance, continue to work that side, Hostetler should be able to get an out here.
Looks back at second. 1-2. High fastball, and Schiavone pops out of the squat to snag it. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Hostetler ready on the mound. Stares in. 2-2. Gross taps one softly down the first baseline. Hakopian fields on a couple hops, takes it to the bag himself, and just beats out Gross for out number 3. The first baseman makes it close, but gets the final out of the inning. T-Bolt scored 2 to tie the game, and we head to the 6th. It's 2-2.
Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down. Baby, can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up.
Welcome back, top of the 6th, and the big train and T-Bolts all tied at 2. Zeb Ruddle to lead off against Eric Elliott. First pitch home and the slider in the dirt, a ball and no strikes. Ruddle 0 for 1 today, a fly out and a walk. As he waits on the 1-0. Inside with a fastball, a ball and a strike. Elliott stares in for the sign, comes set at the bell. Ruddle stares out at him. 2-0, and the fastball catches the bottom part of the zone. It's 2 balls and a strike. With the big triple yesterday. 2-1. Slider just inside. It's 3 balls and a strike.
It's a nasty pitch to Ruddle. Looked like it was going to be an up and in fastball. Did break a little late and missed out of the zone, but had Ruddle fooled. If that one was in the zone, would have been a strike.
3-1. He hits a towering fly ball down the right field line. The right fielder Walters over, leans down. He cannot make the catch. It's a fair ball in the corner. Ruddle still standing at home plate, jogs to first, and it's a deep single for Zeb Ruddle, who thought that was absolutely going foul. Instead, it stays fair, and the big train have a leadoff base runner.
I think he thought it might go over the wall, not as a home run, but as a foul ball, because it's only 315 down that line.
Had he realized that had fallen, that would have at least been a double.
And potentially 3.
Yeah.
Would have set the big train up with a runner in scoring position. Instead, a runner at first. Dixon Williams at the plate, and he takes a first pitch fastball well high. A ball and no strikes. The right fielder Walters raced into foul territory and then leaned back and fell over as the ball landed a foot fair down that right field line. 1-0. And Williams takes a slider on the outside corner, called a strike, even at 1-1. Williams did not play in game 1 today. In the lineup for game 2. 1-1, squares the bunt, pulls back on the slider, takes it in the dirt. Nice block by Wingard. Keeps Ruddle at first, 2 balls and a strike. $15 RBIs on the summer for Williams. 2-1 pitch. Outside with the fastball, 3 balls and a strike.
Williams has spent most of his summer at second base with the Big Train, but has recently shifted over to third.
A guy who can play all over the infield, has been a versatile player for the Big Train. 3-1, and the slider catches the inside corner. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. A Greenville, North Carolina native, an ECU product. School in his hometown at the plate. Looking to do damage for the Big Train. 3-2, Ruddle goes, swing and a miss at the slider, a strikeout, throw down to second. Ruddle stays on his feet and is just in safely before Jones, the shortstop, applies the tag. It's a stolen base for Ruddle, a strikeout for Williams, 1 away, and a runner at second. The go-ahead run in scoring position for Casey Bishop.
Coach G said something to him down at third. You can see him moving like this. He did it twice, so telling Zeb to slide.
Bishop at the plate, Eric Elliott on the mound, and the first pitch skips in the dirt, a ball and no strikes. Well, between that and not leaving the box until the ball lands in the outfield grass, it has been an interesting inning for Zeb Ruddle.
And Bishop, the guy who's taken that second base position since returning to the Big Train after injury.
Ruddle dances off the bag, 1-0. Bishop grounds one on a couple hops to third. The third baseman Gross fields in at his belt, fires to first in time to get Bishop, and Ruddle moves over to third on the throw. 2 away, and the leadoff man, Eddie Hakopian, comes to the plate with the go-ahead run at third in the top of the 6th, all tied at 2.
That's good heads-up base running there, though, by Ruddle. Third baseman never even looked at him. Just immediately went to first, and you know, doesn't matter who it is, Ruddle or somebody else, he's going to take advantage of that and take that free base.
So it's Hakopian, the righty. Waits on a first pitch, takes a slider on the outside corner. Called a strike, 0-1. Hakopian caused nightmares for the Big Train in 2022 with the Aces. Came up big so many times in that championship series.
MVP of the league that year.
As he takes an 0-1 slider back on the outside corner, called a strike, 0-2. Now with Bethesda, the team his dad used to manage, trying to come through in the top of the 6th to give them the lead. 0-2 pitch. Fastball skips in the dirt, a ball and 2 strikes. Big Train have history with late comebacks against the T-Bolts. In 2019 in the championship series, down a couple runs, down to their final 6 outs, they put up a 6 spot to end up winning game 3 and the championship. 1-2. Hakopian, a little dribbler to the right side. The second baseman in, underhand shovel on the bare hand from Soltis, and he gets it to first in time for out number 3, and the inning comes to an end. What a play by the second baseman. And we head to the bottom of the 6th, all tied at 2.
Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Boogie down.
Bottom of the 6, all tied at 2. Matthew Sickley, Amani Jones, Justin Costanzo due up for the Thunderbolts, trying to break this scoreless, or this tied ball game. First pitch to Sickley, grounds it softly to the left side. The shortstop Rasmussen Fields on the run, throws across his body in time for out number 1.
Yeah. Connor's put on a clinic for defense at shortstop today. A couple of diving plays, some good running plays as well. He's been all over the field.
Has made some excellent plays, as you mentioned, so far today. Amani Jones, his counterpart at shortstop at the plate, in the first pitch, a strike with a fastball, 0-1. The new pitcher is Gavin Jones, the right-hander, with a 2.18 ERA in 5 games so far this summer. As the 0-1 just downstairs, a ball and a strike. He's gone multiple innings in every outing so far this summer, 5 games in total. 1-1. One hopper to the right side, right at the second baseman Bishop. He fields, flips to first, 2 down.
2 quick outs there for the Big Train.
And exactly what they need, trying to keep this game tied, headed to the 7th. As Justin Costanzo to the plate, 0 for 2 on the day, is the cleanup hitter. First pitch. And Jones fires one in at the knees for a strike, 0-1.
Hey, he looks really good. He's got good command of that fastball, working quickly and getting soft contact as well.
0-1 pitch downstairs below the knees, a ball and a strike. 2 runs for the T-Bolts in the bottom of the 5th, tied the game. 1-1 pitch. Costanzo hits a high fly ball to center. Back goes Ruddle. He's at the track, and it is off his glove in front of the wall. Costanzo around second. He heads towards third. Ruddle's throw, a rainbow to third base, in on a hop, but Costanzo beats him there. And it is a 3-bag error for Ruddle in center, and the go-ahead run 90 feet away for the T-Bolts in the bottom of the 6th.
And Ruddle had a tough offensive inning. And there's a tough defensive inning.
Just off his glove, he was spinning to the right and to the left, trouble locating it. Soltis to the plate with 2 down, and the first pitch fastball outside, a ball and no strikes.
Well, Eli, we said it earlier, 403 feet to center field. That's where home field advantage for the T-Bolts comes in. They know how much room they have back there. Ruddle doesn't. He plays with that giant wall at Shirley Povich Field.
1-0, a big swing and a miss from Soltis, a ball and a strike, and just never had a great read on the baseball. With the wind quieted down, but still carried out to left center. 1-1, Soltis, a foul tip into the glove of Schiavone, a ball and 2 strikes. Big Train trying to keep the game tied, headed to the 7th.
And I believe there was a very similar play in that first game with Twigo at center field. Ball just caught over his head.
1-2, and Soltis swings and fouls one down the right field line and out of play. A ball and 2 strikes. Jones set on the mound. 1-2 pitch. Slider spins outside. Good take by Soltis. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a 2-2 game with a runner at third in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, it's a perfect pitch for Jones. It just broke a little bit too early, and at that point, Soltis knew to take it.
2-2. Just misses, down and away. The count is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Bowman Wingard, who hit the solo home run an inning ago. 3-2. Soltis, line drive, right field. It's past the second baseman. Bishop into right. The throw from Twigo goes to first. It's not in time. In to score comes Costanzo, and the T-Bolts have rallied. A run in the 6th has given them the lead. They lead 3-2.
And I'm going to bring it up again. The Big Train in double headers, the second game. Eli and Adam, what has been happening?
They don't win, Kaylee. That's what's been happening. Thank
the
you.
first pitch to Wingard is a slider outside. A ball in, or called a strike. No balls and a strike.
Way to state the obvious, Adam.
You set it up.
0-1, a swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt. Schiavone digs it out nicely and watches Soltis dive back to the bag at first. 0-2 the count. 0-3 the record in game 2 of doubleheaders. Or 0-3 so far in game 2. 0-2 pitch, a swing and a miss. A strikeout for Wingard, and the inning comes to an end. But an RBI single from Keegan Soltis gives the Thunderbolts the lead. On to the top of the 7th, the Big Train down to their final 3 outs.
Ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie, boogie, boogie down, baby. Can you boogie down? The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, fix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up.
Top of the 7th, 3-2 T-Bolts with 3 outs to play with for the Big Train, and Connor Rasmussen leads things off. 2-3-4 due up for Bethesda. Eric Elliott back to the mound. The first pitch to Rasmussen, a fastball, rifles in at the knees for a strike, 0-1. Big Train would love a win before they head to Olney tomorrow, but they need a late comeback. 0-1 and the slider catches at the knees, 0-2.
Huge game in Olney tomorrow. The Big Train are 0-3 in the past 3 games against the Crop Dusters.
And a loss tonight would make that game for the division lead. 0-2, slider inside, a ball and 2 strikes to Rasmussen. A win tomorrow for the Crop Dusters, if the Big Train cannot come back, would make them tied for the division lead, but would have the season series and therefore the tiebreaker. 1-2. Slider well outside. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rasmussen.
And the Big Train have a tough road ahead of them with 3 games against the Aces and another against the Crop Dusters on Monday next week as well.
It is not an easy finish to the season. 2-2 pitch, fastball outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Bethesda's so due, though, in that matchup. Like, they are so ready to win.
3 straight losses to the Crop Dusters. 3-2. Rasmussen, a broken black bloop over the head of the second baseman, Soltis. It lands in shallow center field, and it's a leadoff single in the 7th. The tying run aboard with nobody out.
Rasmussen's got his mojo back, it seems.
Has reached the last 3 times in this game. Also reached twice in game one. Jacob Orr at the plate. The righty represents the go-ahead run for the Big Train. And the top of the 7th of a 7-inning game, down 3-2. First pitch to him, squares the bunt and misses. Foul tips it actually back into the glove of the catcher Wingard, and it's no balls and a strike.
Rasmussen's also a player that's taken a lot of selfless bunts to advance a player to third in late close game situations.
Now he needs Orr to do it for him and send him into scoring position. 0-1, Orr squares again, pulls back, and a fastball well up and outside evens the count, a ball and a strike. Orr with a base hit in his last at bat. But thinking bunt, 1-1, squares it down, pops it up, and off the mound comes Elliott, the pitcher, to make the grab for out number 1.
Yeah, that's such a smart decision by Elliott to throw breaking balls there because you know you're going to get under it. And he fouled the first one off right into the mitt, so why would you continue to give him fastballs? Try to get him to pop one up.
And a great move by Elliott to throw the sliders, and then a great jump off the mound to make the catch. One down and Jeffrey Hurd at the plate. A pair of RBI singles has brought home both Big Train runs today, with a runner at first and one down. First pitch from Elliott. The fastball skips in the dirt. Nice job by Wingard to usher it into his chest. It's a ball and no strikes. Big Train trying to avoid splitting a 4th doubleheader this summer. 1-0. Hurd fouls one off the handle of his bat on a check swing. It's a ball and a strike. Rasmussen with good speed at first, the tying run. Down 3-2. He goes 1-1, slider inside. Wingard's throw down to second, skips in the dirt and into center field. Rasmussen pops up quickly but remains at second, and the tying run moves into scoring position for the Big Train on the stolen base.
As much as I love when the Big Train get aggressive, it's actually really smart of Rasmussen to stay there. Why would you go for a 50-50 toss-up when you can at least stay and be in scoring position?
Especially with Hurd at the plate. 2 balls and a strike the count. Here it comes. Hurd takes a fastball called a strike on the outside corner. The Big Train players unhappy. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Long stare in from Elliott. He's set. Looks back at Rasmussen. The 2-2. Slider in the dirt. Hurd swings and misses. Wingard scoops it up. Fires to first in time for out number 2. A strikeout of Hurd. And Dean Twigo represents the last chance for the Big Train with a runner at second and 2 down.
It's like the DC game all over again. The Big Train getting runners in scoring position, and then with at least 1 out for the last time, a couple of strikeouts. Now there's one. You hope Twigo can at least put the ball in play.
Adam, I'm getting deja vu.
First pitch to Twigo, a slider inside, a ball and no strikes. The home crowd wanted the call. They don't get it. Big Train down to their final out with a runner at second, down by 1. 1-0 pitch, the fastball misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. First base is open. The righty Jason Schiavone stands on deck.
The Big Train dugout eagerly leaning over the rail there.
Emotions have run high all afternoon and into the evening. 2-0. Twigo takes a called strike on the outside corner. Count 2 balls and a strike. Lefty rests the bat on his left shoulder. Now holds it above his helmet. 2-1. Twygo takes a slider low and outside. 3 balls and a strike. Elliott has the sign he likes. Set at the belt. A look back at second. 3-1 pitch. Rasmussen takes ball 4. A slider in the dirt puts runners at first and second with 2 down for Jason Schiavone.
Schiavone's had a tough time at the plate today. So we'll see what he can do with this one.
A walk in the second, a pop out in the 4th, a strikeout in the 5th.
Just to make note, I'm pretty sure the fire department out by the green neon lights are watching the game at the moment too, which is pretty cool.
Or in a nail biter.
First pitch to Schiavone outside, a ball and no strikes with a fastball. Last chance for the Big Train in the top of the 7th. Down 3-2 with 2 outs. Runners at first and second. 1-0. Schiavone takes a fastball up and away. 2 balls and no strikes. Elliott set. 2-0 pitch. Schiavone swings and misses at a slider below the knees. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Schiavone's frustrated, you can tell.
So he restraps his batting gloves. Taps the bat on the plate. Steps back in. 2-1. Fastball well outside. Ball 3. 3 balls and a strike to Schiavone with 2 down in the top of the 7th.
It's situation the same with Twygo here. You're probably taking, unless it's this most glorious pitch right in your wheelhouse.
Tying run at second, go ahead run at first. 3-1 to Schiavone, and the slider hits him on the elbow. And the bases are loaded with 2 down.
Schiavone shakes out that arm as he heads to first.
For Zeb Ruddle.
And bases loaded.
I don't think there's any other guy you want up though, Eli. I mean, the triple in Gaithersburg, the home run in DC. All of a sudden, Zeb has done extremely well in high pressure situations.
Doesn't get much more pressure than this. Tying run at third, go ahead run at second, top of the 7th, 2 down. Had a single in his last at bat off of Elliott. It was a high fly ball down the right field line that Walters, the right fielder, misplayed. A base hit could give the Big Train the lead. First pitch to Ruddle. And he watches a fastball take all the way, and it's called a strike on the inside corner, 0-1.
Sal Colangelo is also preparing in case this game is tied. Jack Robinson, the right-hander, throwing in the bullpen to pitch the bottom of the 7th if we get there.
0-1. Slider well upstairs, a ball and a strike to Ruddle.
Ruddle taking a deep breath before he steps back to receive this next pitch.
He stares towards the mound. Elliott, the pitcher, stares back in. 1-1. Ruddle takes a fastball, called a strike on the outside corner. Big Train down to their final strike. A ball and 2 strikes the count with 2 down.
The zone is fluctuating, almost like if it's someone's heart.
Elliott set on the mound. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Ruddle strikes out. And the T-Bolts split the doubleheader with the Big Train. Winners 3-2 in 7 innings. Eric Elliott gets the win and finishes the game off. And the Big Train just a game up on the Crop Dusters as they head to Olney to square off with their division rival tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, just another really unfortunate game for them. Another game that slipped away at the very end. And Kaylee was right, deja vu. It's the second doubleheader where we've had the bases loaded in the ninth and a strikeout ends it. It's just unfortunate because it's another game that the Big Train should have won. And now the reality of it is there's no reason a few weeks ago that the position we're in should have happened. Now you have to go to Olney and play the Crop Dusters, a team that has played you very hard this year. And out of all the games, in my opinion, that we've done this year, the game in Olney, when we lost 8-3, was the one game that really sticks out. It's the one that the Big Train have not looked the best in.
Well, they head there tomorrow. They left 9 guys on base over the last 4 innings, including the bases loaded twice in the last 3 innings. Well, Adam, it is that time after a loss, but it includes both games.
Yeah.
So with the win earlier, we can focus on that one more so, I imagine. Who is your Roll-A-Bump Limited player of the game?
I'm going to give it to Connor Rasmussen. 2 games, he's reached base 5 times, and the defense was spectacular for him. If you asked me maybe individual offensive performances, of course Jeffrey Hurd in this game had 3 really big hits for the Big Train, but in general, Connor Rasmussen played 2 of the best games I've seen all season by a Big Train, and it's funny because he didn't really have, outside of the triple in game 1, this big moment. It was just consistent play between the 2 games.
Well, that's your player of the game. The Big Train lose to the T-Bolts for the first time since July 12th, 2021. But they did win the title that season. We'll be back tomorrow on the air just before 5 p.m. for Big Train and Crop Dusters, a battle for the division lead in Olney. Until then, for Adam Glover, Kaylee Tallman, our producer extraordinaire Harrison Myers, I'm Eli Kleinman saying good night from Silver Spring.